cry and it's a sign of the times. We gotta get away from here. We gotta get away from here.
Welcome back, my friend. This is going to be more of a video scribble on a notepad than a video essay. Nonetheless, having seen Project Hail Mary and its surprising box office success, I wanted to share my thoughts. At the time of writing, the film has raked in over $220 million worldwide. Its domestic opening weekend gross was the third highest of any post-pandemic film. The first was Oppenheimer, an Oscar-friendly period drama from one of Hollywood's last truly bankable directors. The second was F1 the Movie, a film about one of the world's most popular and fastest growing sports, featuring one of the world's biggest movie stars. Project Hail Mary's success has taken press critics and even MGM and Amazon by surprise. There's even talk of expanding the story into a franchise, which they absolutely should not do. But what's the cause of the film's interstellar box office trajectory? Sorry, Fox News, but I don't think it's because the film is anti-woke. Also, you guys don't just get to claim good things, even though if you had an ounce of media literacy, you'd see that they were antithetical to everything you stand for. Outside of that esteemed publication, reviews have been broadly positive, but not exactly effusive. Variety's review, for instance, acknowledged its feel-good factor, but accused it of coasting on Ryan Gosling's natural charm and cynical emotional button-pushing. Maybe it's the source material. The novel it's based on was a great success, both critically and commercially. The Martian, and its excellent film adaptation by Ridley Scott, are still fresh enough in the cultural memory to make a case that Andy Weir's approachable hard sci-fi has its own bankable brand, outside of its literary pedigree and Ryan Gosling being
really ridiculously good looking.
There's also the competence porn factor. Seeing a clever person escape a potentially lethal situation by being clever is acutely satisfying in ways that few Hollywood films have capitalised on. The first and third Iron Man, No Country for Old Men, Miss Sloane, and of course The Martian are great recent examples of this. Then of course there are the dazzling visuals, the witty script, the inventive creature design, and the heavy lifting done by all the supporting cast that add much needed context to the interstellar escapades. I'd argue that while these are all important factors, the truth is that the film operates on a level that audiences are genuinely hungry for in this cultural moment. Our world is fractured, on the brink of economic collapse and driven by algorithmically optimized spite. The US and Israel are currently executing an illegal and deeply unpopular war in Iran that's about to see everyone's cost of living increase as the choking of the Strait of Hormuz causes oil prices to soar, and when that happens, the cost of everything from domestic energy to food increases. Moreover, the US's blockading of Cuba is the latest in a litany of illegal actions against the communist nation. This is collective punishment of the Cuban people, which is a war crime, and shameless gangsterism. The US government is quite literally deploying the same playbook as the villains in The Phantom Menace. Social media platforms force a constant stream of hateful rhetoric into our daily feeds, not because it delivers value, but because it's proven to drive engagement. More engagement means more time in-app, and in the attention economy, an hour of your time is the most valuable commodity on Earth. In such a climate, the friendship between Ryland Grace and Rocky is a fictional balm to torrents of rage-inducing bile. These are two entities who could not be more different, culturally, technologically, or physiologically. Yet, they share an existential threat that forces them to cooperate. They learn to communicate, to identify their commonalities, and find out the ways in which their skills and knowledge overlap, and the ways in which they cover one another's blind spots. This eventually develops into an unbreakable bond of friendship. And it's beautiful, it's satisfying, it's a message we desperately need to hear as the world burns around us and petrochemical-sponsored politicians chant "drill baby drill" as the evidence of climate change unfolds around them. Moreover, I think there's a real appetite among audiences for Ryan Gosling's brand of affably vulnerable masculinity. This is a man who has no compunctions about displays of emotion or affection. It's so incredibly rare that I get to see a male lead in a Hollywood film that cries as much as I do. The Pop Culture Detective actually has a great video on male cultural norms around crying. I'll leave a link for you in the show notes. The character of Ryland Grace is incredibly competent, but also fallible. He makes mistakes, he gives in to his fears, he's humbled by the project's director and is a better man for it. While I wasn't necessarily a fan of Superman 2025 overall, I think that's also a big part of that film's appeal. David Corenswet's "aw shucks" sincerity brings a goofy sense of gentility to his Man of Tomorrow. This is the very antithesis of what we're seeing in the online realm known as the manosphere, a movement led by social media influencers whose stock in trade is misogynistic, aggressively heteronormative venom packaged as aspirational self-improvement. If you've seen Louis Theroux's recent documentary Inside the Manosphere, you'll know that, at the very least in some cases, they don't even believe the belligerent gibberish they're spouting. They're just savvy enough to know that negativity is a much more potent driver of engagement than the alternative. I'd also argue that the competence porn actually ties into this pretty well. Even if you live in the US and share the political leanings of the regime, they are not competent by any metric. Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has been an unmitigated failure for anyone not directly profiting from it. The kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro is a human rights time bomb waiting to happen, and even if you set aside the horrific moral implications of embarking on yet another illegal war, if you drive a car, use public transport, use any product made from or packaged in plastic, own a home, rent a home, pay an energy bill, or eat food, the current illegal war in Iran is already increasing your cost of living. Rather than showing us a nebulous, malignant force to fear or despise, Project Hail Mary shows us that a better world is possible, a world in which humility, compassion, sacrifice, and friendship can ultimately save the world. And while I love buff dudes walking purposefully away from explosions as much as the next cishet 40-something, I think that more mellow flavour of masculinity is sorely needed right now. It's a sign of the times, and we have got to get away from here. Anyway, for my money, that's the secret sauce. A combination of ingredients in just the right proportions, added to the melting pot at exactly the right time. As always, thank you for watching, my friend. Take care. Be kind. I hope you'll join me later in the spring when I'll be talking about another unassuming male role model from pop culture. But before that, there's going to be some peep show based silliness.